Hey, buddy.
Hello, Governor.
How you doing?
I just woke up.
Could tell.
It's 11:03. I am typically an early wake up person,
Mm-hmm.
but we partied like we didn't have school tomorrow. Yesterday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Happy Labor Day? Is that something you say happy to?
I mean, if you're saying it to someone who doesn't have to work, then yes.
Sweet.
So, I don't have to work, you don't have to work, so happy Labor Day.
Good job laboring most days that aren't this specific day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be Don't Labor Day.
Wasn't this holiday like a concession to like anarchists or union people like in the 20s?
I have no idea where it started.
I think it was like the communists were coming up and they were like, we have May Day, and people in America were like, yeah, we work a lot. And Congress was like, you guys can have Labor Day. Oh, thanks for our one day off. And then everything went back to normal.
Silly.
I think that's how it went down. Yeah, I mean, it's a holiday weekend. I've had a huge weekend, including yesterday, where we both witnessed, lived through the greatest draft of all time.
I mean, we'll see. It's not the greatest draft of all time if I don't end up winning.
I said this 5 minutes, 1 minute before the draft actually started.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the most nervous, anxious. Not a lot makes me anxious anymore. But like, is everybody going to be able to join?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a tradition of doing a Zoom 30 minutes before the draft starts.
Yep.
Everybody's got commemorative, official logo, shot glasses. We like to just chit chat, shot glass, go into the draft.
Yep.
It's never been everybody that joins the Zoom.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's been quite a few people. Like, definitely up to 6, maybe up to 8 out of 12. I think last year was quite a few people.
Yeah.
Because we'll get a Stephanie, we'll get a Lauren. But I don't think Stefan's ever done it. I know Tom's never done it.
I think Brian's been there before, but not regularly.
Yeah.
Tony's usually always there.
Damien and Corey are always
Jamie
there.
and Corey are always there.
Koja.
The Iowa Syndicate. I don't know. Yeah.
But then, even though we've gotten really good about, hey, confirm your address so you can get last year's souvenir, make sure everybody is alive and well, or at least alive, to stay in next season. I still, when I see all the people that haven't entered the draft yet, I'm still like, did I mess up somehow? Did people not know? And we talked about changing the Zoom invite to like a proper meeting invite so that you can track accepted or can't make it, and then maybe just reach out to the folks who don't respond either way. But sure enough, sure as it has been in the last few years, everybody joined.
Yep.
Went off without any hitches. We had a hitch last year.
We had a big hitch. I mean, I think that's the only time we ever had a real hitch.
And I think we handled it perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we learned, so this year it was just seamless.
Yeah. We got to keep doing every summer some kind of thing because it just locks all the positions and stuff into place well before and no uncertainty. Which everybody loved that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it went well. I don't know if I like my team, but I have a team now, so.
Do you want to roster bait?
I don't know if
Mutual roster bait, let's go. Almost everybody's changed their team names, which was also a delight. I'm not gonna divulge everybody's team names, but I think it's just 2 now that have it. And everybody has just done fabulously.
Yep. Wait, what?
This new app. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I thought I was looking at my team, and I was looking at your team. I was like, what? That's not who I drafted.
Yahoo updated their app, and they're like, oh, it's so much prettier looking. And it's all the same functions. Like, they didn't add being able to do things before the draft, like pre-draft rankings onto the app. That's still a thing you have to do on your computer in a very crappy way.
The thing that bugs me the most about the app is during the draft, like I'm drafting on the computer, but I like to have the chat on my phone.
Yeah, it's actually.
And it doesn't auto scroll as new messages come in. If new messages come in, it's like there's a line that says new messages, scroll down, and I'm like just keep up with the messages.
Bro, I was having like a little fit because on the big screen in the room,
Yeah.
you can put. You do it on the computer, so you may or may not see this. There's a presenter mode. I will forget this by next year. But you can look at the draft. Like, if you have everybody in a big room together, there's a presenter mode where you can just kind of see what's going on and all the picks and stuff. And it's like draft board in the league, kind of like that, where everybody's name as a player just keeps getting added to it. I always have that up so that Ash and I can look at that and, like, laugh. And it's supposed to have the chat on there too. Between that, my draft and the chat in the draft, and our phones, no single one of them had everything that was going on. Even that, like, presenter mode, some of the players were coming up like blank, and then it would show the next person, but not the next person or the next person after that, but then the next person. Just Yahoo. Yeah. I've got off of ESPN this year. Which in season is bad, but preseason, like the rankings, is perfect. I love ESPN's ability, or their setup for the pre-draft rankings and stuff. And I know not everybody does like as much pre-draft prep or has fun doing that. I have a lot of fun doing pre-draft prep, so I'm sad that I have no leagues on ESPN anymore. And then I've got Sleeper, which is terrible in draft, but pretty good in season. And Yahoo is just a good blend of all those things. But Yahoo also has its shortcomings.
With all the money there is in fantasy, you'd feel like somebody would just have it dialed in.
Yeah. Anything you're particularly proud about on your team? I'm looking at my team, and there's one supernova of an issue with my team.
I don't think there's any one thing that I'm really proud about. I think I have a pretty balanced team. Like, I don't feel like I'm just super short at any one position or overpowered at any one position. Have solid backups for my key players. Which I went with Dak as my starting quarterback, but I don't know if I trust him. So that's why I took a decent backup quarterback fairly early.
Trevor Lawrence there. I have very high expectations for Dak, especially in our league that rewards completions.
Yeah.
I think he finished like third in scoring last year, and everything that drives a quarterback to do more, I think, is all there for the Cowboys, specifically not having number one running back, like a premier running back. I think he'll do even better than he did last year based on circumstance. So it's a good move. You got Breece Hall.
Yeah. Jeremy asked me yesterday who was my number one pick, and I was like, is it Bryce? Is it Breece? His last name's Hall.
I was surprised. You remember what happened 2 years ago with Breece Hall, right?
Vaguely. I remember something happened. I don't remember what it was.
He was a rookie 2 years ago. I had him on my team in Corey's league, and you gave me Stephon Diggs, and I gave you Breece Hall. And then, like 2 weeks later, Breece Hall's leg exploded.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
He should be a monster this year.
Yeah. I guess I don't have like a superstar wide receiver. I mean, I got close. But otherwise, I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to see. Like, can't get too high on the highs or low on the lows. Gotta keep my blinders on and stay focused.
I've got a lot of Chris Olave in my other leagues. Also, like, circumstance-based should be amazing. But, yeah, I gotta see it. He's not been bad any season before this.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's solid.
Solid. Very solid, yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I think most times the league champion just has an overall solid team. They're not just riding one player or two players.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's happened before, but it's not very common.
You're thinking of Tim
Yeah.
and Peyton?
For sure.
What's your defense situation? 'Cause
Uh,
I love that we do individual defensive players.
I'm real. Well, I'm not real mad at myself, but I accidentally because I'm on the school of the only defensive position I'm ever gonna draft or have on my team is a linebacker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But for my backup defensive guy, I got a safety / cornerback,
Mm-hmm.
which honestly I did accidentally.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Was it just like a most projected points or something?
that and bye week.
Funny, yeah. Because you wanted a bye week that wasn't on the same as everybody else.
Right.
Checks out, yeah.
And I thought I could have sworn it said linebacker next to him, but so we'll see.
He might be one of those guys that does everything. And it's... Vikings should struggle, be on the struggle bus this year. So having that guy that's in the secondary is probably wise.
Yeah,
I love that Patrick Queen pick.
yeah.
I think everybody in the chat was like, Queen!
I mean, overall, like I said, I'm feeling pretty okay about my lineup. Just if I can stay healthy. It's injuries is just what's been getting me. And I will say, I did have another draft last night with my Michigan Cousins League. And between our draft, that draft, and the Corey and Jamie's League draft, I won all 3 drafts.
Nice.
A pluses on all 3.
All in Yahoo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. We were clowning on Yahoo.
It's silly.
I think the grade is fine and well, just like based on projections, whatever.
Mhm.
But those narratives,
I love them.
so dumb.
I love them so much.
Nobody laughed at my joke. Somebody was clowning on it in the chat. Brian had took a screen grab and was like, "Make this make sense." And the joke I made was like, "Skynet's not gonna kill us like through malice and nukes. It's gonna kill us through incompetence. Like somebody in Wuhan is doing something on ChatGPT they absolutely should not be, and that's gonna be our downfall." 9 months later, we all gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, really stupid AI generated narrative to our grades. Okay, can I do mine?
Yeah.
My first 3 picks
Let me look at you.
were CeeDee Lamb, Travis Etienne, and Jalen Hurts.
Mhm.
CeeDee Lamb. My first draft was July 1st when we were out on the boat with Corey and Jamie on the river.
Yeah.
And it had all my... I'll talk about this in a second too. The auto rankings desperately matter to me. And that's what I spend a lot of time doing in the summer. And I enjoy doing it. It's just like fiddling with who should be ranked where.
Mhm.
And I have, for the longest time, I had it Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb. In leagues that are like half-point PPR or better. Like ours, I think, is better because it's the half point for the reception and then a half point for a first down, with most receptions are first down. Not all of them, but most. So I had CD like high up there, but then he held out for like all of training camp. And used to be, once upon a time, he would say that guy is for sure going to play. He'll come back. He'll be back. You just got to get his contract. Jerry Jones, it's like we're prioritizing Dak Prescott over CeeDee Lamb. And then just like, even if that's the case, get all this done like after the first preseason game or shortly thereafter. And we've finished all the preseason games and CeeDee Lamb still hasn't like practiced with the team at all. And I was really bullish on him, like I said, because of the circumstance. It was like, see, the year that he had last year, he's going to have an even better year this year because he's like, there's no real running back.
Mhm.
But I had to start like fading him and like lowering him rankings because if you don't practice, like your injury risk goes up, and then like heaven forbid he doesn't play. And then when you get into like doesn't play territory, we have seen people sit the entire year.
Mhm.
Le'Veon Bell famously, but then other people do it for like chunks. So then it was like torture for me. I had to choose between Bijan Robinson, who I'm also very bullish on, and then CeeDee Lamb. But I got CeeDee Lamb. So now I'm going to live with that as my number one pick.
With which Drunk Yahoo's saying is inactive coach's decision or not on the roster.
Mm-hmm. Junk Yahoo didn't have any projected return yards for defensive players, which mattered hugely for Keyshawn Nixon, who was like the number one returner last year.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I don't think you'd have to like scroll and scroll and scroll to see him on the defensive player rankings. When last year he finished like the 7th defensive player. So I felt like I got a steal on that guy. But that was pick 4, comes back around, whatever pick that is. I think pick 20. And then I got Travis Etienne. I forget who I was debating there, but I think he finished 3rd among running backs last year. Like CMC was like all by himself. And then I think it was Rachaad White and Travis Etienne is like the next 2. And then on the way back in the 3rd, I got Jalen Hurts, which wasn't really a tough choice for me. Like, I thought Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts would be gone coming out of the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping with those 3 picks, I mean, presumably CMC is going to be the number 1 running back again. And probably Breece Hall and Bijan will finish ahead of my boy ETN. But maybe not. Maybe I've got the number 1 wide receiver, quarterback, and running back. That would be great for me.
Yeah, well, you don't.
Jerome Ford I got in the 7th. And that's something like if Nick Chubb was available in the 7th at full health, he would definitely be like, I got a steal there. There's no... Or like Donta Foreman is on the practice squad now. There's not like any competition for him. Like I scooped him up. But the big issue with my team is tight end. I kept putting it off and putting it off. And I was like, I'll get Taysom Hill. I'll get Brock Bowers. Like these people that are at the... Can't go without him. And then honestly, in the same way that you picked up Metellus, that's how I got Greg Dulcich.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was like, who is the number 1 tight end at least on these teams? And like... Dolchik has Bo Nix as a quarterback, so it's like rookie quarterback, safety valve, that could work out. But I really wanted to pick Chig Okonkwo ahead of him, the tight end from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happened to like get Dolchik on accident. It's like, Because that's the other thing is when you're putting people in queue.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely in... mock drafts, I've done this before, where I've like drafted them instead of putting them in queue because it was time to draft and I was trying to put them in queue, which sucks. But that didn't bite me too much. But I've got to figure out my tight end situation for the rest of the year. And then defense, I feel great about. You can see it still has Keyshawn Nixon projected for 1 point.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll see if the new return rules change his return numbers at all.
I'm bullish on that. But even if he has the same year he had last year, it's a 7th place finish for last year. I think I also have a lot of Daniel Carlson stock across all my leagues.
Mm-hmm.
He's had multiple 2nd place finishes. And I think for a league like ours that scores based on yardage of kicking,
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping nobody is steal. Fingers crossed he's a steal. I'm going to check. I think Ash got Brandon Aubrey, which I'm hella jealous of. Yep.
You sure do have a lot of running backs.
Yeah. Ash has... we were looking at our...
You have 7 running backs.
I think Ash has 8 wide receivers.
I think that makes more sense than 7 running backs.
Running backs get injured.
I mean, unless you have, like, top 12 in the league running backs, their numbers they put up wide receivers are probably going to be bigger.
We will see. My 2 bench wide receivers, I'm definitely banking on the return rules with Khalil Shakir and Marvin Mims. But that is it's true. That's always a thing of mine is going like minimal wide receivers and getting as many running backs as I can.
Yeah, Ash has 8 wide receivers. How many do I have? One, two. I got 6 wide receivers.
And 6 running backs or 4 running backs?
3 running backs.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like I don't ever plan to use a running back as in a flex position.
I think I have that in Corey's league because of that scoring of 1 point per first down, regardless of how it's gotten.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely wide receivers get more first downs than running backs. This is the most exciting part of the year, Kelly.
It's a pretty good time of year.
Ash had been stressing out so much. And she was like, it's finally over. And I was like, yeah, in a literal sense, the draft is over, but in a larger, more meaningful sense, things have just begun.
Well, I don't know. Draft's the hardest part. Just set your lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how I play fantasy. Like, if I draft somebody, like, I'm going to roll with them until they get injured or something happens and they're just producing, like, no points. Because, I mean, at least for me, it's just so rare to ever just, like, pick someone up off of waivers and they, like, are a huge impact to my team.
I think if that happens, it's usually the first, like, couple weeks, too.
Mm-hmm. So I'm all about just draft the team that you're ready to spend the rest of the year with. Like, if you can't make another move the rest of the year, like, are you okay with this team?
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way I go about it.
I had another league drafting at the exact same time that I didn't even think about until maybe 40 minutes in. And so we had gotten like to the 7th or 8th pick.
Mm-hmm.
This is a league of online strangers, and not even like Facebook online strangers, but 4, maybe 5 years ago, I was just looking for private prize leagues on Yahoo to join, and joined this one. It's called Sunday Chicken, and some of these people will know each other, but then some of them are weirdo strangers like me, and the commissioner, even this year, had to like swap out one person, and before that it's been like as many as like 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a league that's very much in flux, but the commissioner, guy named Andrew, I've never met, don't know, they've just been trying to keep this league alive over the years, and I'm always there, I'm always rock solid, I'm always participating to the very end, and my team name in there is Tiberius Gracchus, because one year I named all of my teams across the competitions I was doing some sort of late Roman Republic character.
Nerd
like,
thing.
Yeah. And you know how it shows on Yahoo, like your name and then your team name?
Mm-hmm.
This guy's been calling me Tiberius for years. Even though it says Nathan, Tiberius Gracchus. And the day yesterday, like at the same time that I was sending the email of like we're 24 hours out from our draft, he did the same thing. And was like, looking forward to seeing you all then. Love you, Tiberius. I was like, okay. And then forget about that draft entirely. And then after, so we take our shot, and then I get myself like another drink. So eventually I remember, and I go back over to, or I open that tab and look at my team.
Mm-hmm.
It's Anthony Richardson as quarterback, Chris Olave, Drake London, Christian McCaffrey, Rashad White, Dalton Kincaid, Michael Pittman, Samir White, Chris Godwin, and then I took over again. Before Yahoo will auto fill your thing, so it'll throw in a defense and a kicker like when there's still plenty of like.
Right.
Yeah. So I got him before that happened.
Okay.
But then I was like, this team is stacked. And I go to the chat, and I'm scrolling through, and it's just like a bunch of shit talk. And then eventually I get to like where the draft starts, and Andrew's like, Tiberius, you broke my heart. And I replied to that as like, it's Nathan, by the way. And I was like, sorry, I had another draft going on. And he was like, he's cheating on us with another league. And I was like, I need to be absolutely clear about this. You guys are 100% the side piece. And then everybody started going like, kick him out. He's like, y'all better not lose to my auto-drafted team. So now I might change my team name in there just to further embarrass him of like, yeah, my name was never Tiberius. Like, what kind of name is that?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things like Stefan now for me. Like, it's just
He messes with me all the time, Kelly.
I mean, I didn't start it. I don't know who did, but like I literally thought that was his name for the longest time, and then found out it wasn't. But it's just, I think it's more fun to say, which is probably disrespectful, but whatever. I had some pretty funny mishap kind of situations happened last night in my cousin's draft. Because, like, once our draft was done, that's when, like, I really started partying for the night.
Yeah.
Like, there's no school tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And, so, you know, having a few adult beverages and hanging out with Jared and doing our thing. And then, like, 30 minutes before the draft starts, because it started at 7:30 our time, which is 8:30 Michigan time, which I don't know why they want to do it so late. Like, that's wild. Maybe everybody has kids and they want to wait till all the kids are in bed. But at 7, my cousin, who's the commissioner, texts me. He's like, hey, cuz, you good? You going to be in the draft? I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to be there with bells on, like, ready to go. And then one thing leads to another, and I just get distracted, and I don't know what's going on, and, or no, at that point, I hopped in the draft on my phone just to see where my draft position was, because I don't think in that league they don't set the draft order until, like, they let Yahoo do it right before the draft starts. So I was like, oh, where am I drafting? And I had, like, the second pick.
Yeah.
So, like, this year I had, like, 1 first and 2 seconds or something like that.
Nice.
My 3 leagues. But then I close out and I'm like, go about my stuff, get a little distracted, and get a little more adult beveraged up, and
Your brain's like task complete.
and then like I'm outside on the patio just doing my patio thing, and then my other cousin, she texts me and she's like, you're on the clock, you got 30 seconds. And I'm like, oh crap, there's a draft going on. So like I go into the draft on my phone just as fast as I could. As soon as I load in the draft, I see it's my pick. I have 8 seconds left. But luckily, I took a little time beforehand to like strategize how I was going to do this draft, because this is the only league I'm in that has that's 2 quarterbacks.
Okay.
There's a super flex.
Right. Yeah.
So, and honestly, I think this is the 3rd year now that league's had 2 quarterbacks. This is the first time that I remember that it was 2 quarterbacks before the start of the draft.
Yeah.
Because I remember the last 2 years, like, I'm seeing quarterbacks go in the first round. I'm like, what are these nerds doing? Like, that's not how you fantasy. I remember beforehand. So, 8 seconds left, I get in. I'm like, filter by quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts. 1 second left. Draft. Done. Boom. And then I had like 30 minutes till my next pick, because it was the second pick, so it has to go all the way to the whatever. And I texted back my cousin, who let me know that there was 30 seconds left. texted her a GIF of an umpire going safe, and she was like, "OMG, that's the closest I've ever seen anyone cut it before ever."
Nice.
And then that same exact thing happened probably 2 more times throughout that draft. I forgot it was going on. Because, I mean, again, like, I'll have a pick. I'll have a long time before it's my pick again. And then I'll have 2 picks very close together. And then it'll be another long, drawn-out thing. So there was a couple times. Like, I didn't have to get texted again. Like, hey, it's your turn. But there was a couple other times when, like, I get in and it's, like, sub 30 seconds, sub 20 seconds. Mm. But luckily, because I knew that I was messing up and I was forgetting things because I was partying, I made it a point to, after every pick I made, to know what position I was going for next, so I could just then search it real fast if I did get in late. So that helped, and like A+ draft grade, projected to win the league.
Love it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I should be competitive in all 3 of my leagues this year.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about... I mean, I have 2 leagues that I'm in that got accidentally auto-drafted because I was trying to do something silly and I forgot. Like, whatever. Because I wanted to be in just some rando league and draft nothing but Texans.
Oh, okay. Got it. So you have, like, 5 leagues, but 2 of them are, like, your...
I'm not going to pay attention. I mean, if I... feel up to it, I'll go maybe set my lineup, but I'm not gonna try at all. But I'm still thinking about I might go and join one more rando league and then legitimately just like pick all Texans players.
For a long time, I used to find 14 or even 16 team leagues on the thought process that they're more competitive, so that if I see like a player getting picked up off the waiver wire in them, that like, oh, maybe that's something to look at in one of the 10 or 12 person leagues that I was in. I haven't done that in a while.
I think I've done maybe one time a league with more than 12, and it's just the good, like, you can't have a team full of like decent players. Like, you're gonna have some just like complete trash players. And that's no fun to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want third stringers like in my starting roster because it's all I have. It's I gotta hope that somebody gets some garbage time or something.
But then it makes you have to observe that and do that homework, and then sometimes you'll find a diamond in the rough.
But the problem is I won't do the homework. I'll just get discouraged and be like, well, screw this, I'm going home.
But then other people in the league are doing it, so as long as you're monitoring the transaction wire.
But I don't.
Okay. In the same era where I found that league that was drafting at the same time as us, I definitely joined leagues that were like an NFL roster of not just the wide receivers and not just individual defensive players, but like down to defensive tackle, defensive end, and like breaking it out like that, and you had to pick each one. And I'm glad I don't do that anymore. Because it was that situation you're explaining of like 16 teams like trying to fill out like a whole NFL roster. Just like people you have no idea who they are. But then it was beneficial because I did like watching the transaction wire.
Yeah.
I had one more draft after those 2 drafts at 6. And that is with Facebook friends and people that I do care about. And this is the first year we weren't doing that draft on ESPN. We're doing it on Sleeper, where I have one other Dynasty League. So it's like 10 on Yahoo and 2 on Sleeper. But one of the default things about that nobody caught until it was too late is the draft time per pick was 2 minutes. So I was like, please guys, don't make it take 2 minutes. This could go until like 9 p.m. And not everybody responded. 4 teams auto-drafted. But then it got to maybe just 3 teams. But once you use all your time once and you are automatically put on auto-draft, so it made everything kind of speed up, actually. But then that was that. That league where you were saying you had the second pick and forgot about it, that league that drafted at the same time as us, Similarly, you don't know your pick until 30 minutes before.
Mm.
Number one pick, so everybody was like, "Where is Nathan? Or where is Tiberius?"
I knew you had the number one pick when you said you had the
CMC.
CMC.
Yeah.
Silly.
And I was like, maybe somebody got CD or Tyreek. I've seen that before, CMC. Because he did get the most touches last year, and that's the thing, that if you get the most touches, you have a horrible year the next year.
Yeah. What a wonderful time.
Mm-hmm.
College football started this weekend, too.
Oh.
For reals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michigan won.
TCU won.
Yeah.
I had kind of a really big weekend as far as Friday being we were dog sitting for Laura, so that started Thursday, and then Saturday I knew I was going to go to San Antonio early in the morning for a project to help one grandma, and then I was trying to do that between 9 and 12, and it was like, if I have time, maybe I'll see the other grandma, or my brother Justin in Seguin, which is just right outside San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, the way you set yourself up for success in that is you watch TCU versus Stanford in its entirety, a game that did not start until 9:30 p.m. So I was up until 12:30, and woke up at 6:30 or 7 to go out to San Antonio. But then I did pull off the helping family hat trick of seeing all three of them and moving some rocks for one, moving some furniture for another, and then moving some dirt for my brother and them, and seeing my niece and nephew.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good shit. The hat trick, felt good about that.
Yeah.
And TCU won.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bonus act.
Let's go.
That was a close game. What was Michigan's game like?
It was dumb. I hated it. I hated
Yeah.
every second of it.
Why?
Because it was just classic. It just always seems like Michigan just plays to the talent level of their opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So they're playing Fresno State, and like the whole first half, it was a close game. Even into the third quarter, it was a close game. And it wasn't until, and I made this prediction to my family. I was like, no matter how close it is, come fourth quarter, we'll pull away from it, because that's one of Michigan's biggest strengths is their conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're going to be pretty much just as good in the fourth as they were in the first, and that's going to tire the other team out. And the whole first 2 quarters, 2.5 quarters, maybe in 3, Fresno's defensive line was just tearing up our offensive line, which was gross. But then I told my brother, I was like, they're going to get tired. And then sure enough, they got tired, and like the whole fourth quarter, we just ran all over them like nothing, like a hot knife through butter. And it was just easy, but it was just still frustrating. Like, they're just not that kind of team that's going to go in and win 56-0, usually. I mean, sometimes they will, but just their style of play is, like, I want to see those big numbers, but it's not their MO.
Are you excited about any other players, draft-wise?
What do you mean? Like, this year's players?
Yeah.
Going into the draft next
We're just
year?
going into the NFL eventually.
I mean, there's definitely a few, like, Colston Loveland, he's our tight end.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to definitely be a star NFL tight end.
More so than Schoonmaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a guy on defense named Will Johnson, who's fairly reminiscent. I'm not gonna say he's the same, but reminiscent of Charles Woodson.
Whoa.
I mean, that's why I'm not putting them on the same level, but it's like they could be in
Your hands are pretty close to each other.
a similar discussion. He's pretty magical.
Nice.
Our quarterback situation is real up in the air. Like, there was, like, we were rotating 2 quarterbacks, like, the whole game. And it's like we have one quarterback that's, like, a pure passer and one quarterback who's okay at passing but can, like, also run the crap out of the ball. And it feels like they're going with the pure passer guy to be the main starter. But he definitely didn't look super amazing yesterday. Biggest thing I'm worried about for Michigan this year right now is just the offensive line, because literally, like, I think last year our entire offensive line went to the NFL. So now it's all brand new starters, and like we had to change centers like halfway through the game because our center just kept getting beat, and like which is looking dumb. Just like you'd snap the ball and then just like go into open space, just like looking for something to block, and then there's a dude just going right by him.
That's not good.
It's like can't be doing that. But again, it's the first game of the season. No reason to get real worked up. Although I'm really hoping that they were just hiding a bunch of stuff, because next week we play Texas.
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to choose to believe that they were hiding a bunch of stuff and they weren't playing up to their ability because they're hiding it to go into Texas. They didn't want to give them enough film to watch. But yeah, I'm worried about next week for sure.
I thought TCU and Stanford, sort of like you said, played to the same level. Pretty sloppy to begin with. But similar to Michigan, fourth quarter was a TCU takeover. Getting those interceptions. And now we're like on it's not Gary Patterson anymore, it's, I want to say Sonny Dykes. That's not. No. Okay, the other guy. All these coaches have silly names. I'm thinking of the Clemson. I said Sonny Dykes, and I was like, is that Dabo
Sweeney?
Dabo Sweeney? Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Anyways, I always like it when TCU is good for a turnover, like getting the ball from the other team in both halves. And they're like, all right, this will be a good season. And that happened, but then also we gave the ball up. But we also gave it up in, like, bizarre circumstance, so hopefully that doesn't become normal. Quarterback is some kid I never heard of named Hoover. Wide receiver, every other year we have an amazing wide receiver, and this year it's a guy named Savion Williams. I'm sure he'll dominate in college, but between Jalen Reagor and now Quentin Johnston, I think everybody knows that these guys get into the NFL with all their size and speed and just can't put it together. But yeah, hopefully he has a great year as a wide receiver. And then running back, we've got a rookie named Wood that did some like cool flashy things to begin with, but then closed that game out, including with a very acrobatic touchdown, like one of those, not a sideways somersault type thing.
Yeah.
So kudos to that guy. I'm very much looking forward to watching him do cool things.
Well, that reminded me, another thing I'm high on for Michigan is we lost Blake Corum just because he ran out of eligibility, went to the NFL. But we got this guy named Mullins, who's basically Blake Corum Part 2. Like, he's that guy that can just real shifty, get in between those tiny gaps of the line and just bulldoze you and run you over. So, as much as I was bummed to lose Corum, at least we have that kind of shored up.
Heck yeah.
So, I don't know. It's wild. Like, Michigan has, like, the hardest schedule in all of college football this year. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but I can't imagine there's many with worse, but...
Pull up TCU's schedule.
So, 1, 2, 3...
TCU's game next week is against a team called LIU that on this Google auto-generated thing does not have a logo. It's just a blank shield. Long Island University.
Oh, I was gonna say like Liberty Independent or something. Yeah, so I mean, this year Michigan has to play in the regular season. They play Texas, who's number 4, USC, who's 23 right now. That's going to go up because they beat LSU yesterday.
Yes, they did.
They play Washington, who was in the national championship last year against them. They played number 3 Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2 Ohio State.
Yeah.
All in the regular season. Like that's a lot.
If they do well, and any of those other guys do well, they might be seeing them in the postseason in the 12-team playoff system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely rougher than what I'm looking at for TCU. So, unranked Long Island University. Unranked unless I say otherwise. Central Florida, SMU. Then we got 22 Kansas. Houston, unranked. 12 ranked Utah. Unranked Texas Tech. Unranked Baylor. Maybe they'll be ranked by the time we play them in late October, early November. We got to play number 17, Oklahoma State. Number 21, Arizona. And then unranked Cincinnati, who also might be ranked by the time we get there.
Right.
But nothing like UT, Ohio State.
Oregon, USC,
Yeah.
Washington.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I'm still buzzing off the winning the national championship last year. I don't have any real. I don't really believe they're going to be able to repeat this year, so it won't disappoint me.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, if nothing else, I'm glad we're having such a tough schedule this year now that the playoffs are around, because that's definitely going to afford one loss, maybe even 2 loss teams to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which is important.
Yeah.
So I don't see us. If we run the table this year, we are like the best team in college history, probably. Which I don't think we are.
We're leaving behind, the BCS, and with the way boosters can pay players now, it's bringing more parity, I think. Where like a smaller school like a TCU or an SMU can just take a bigger school's player by paying them more, which is nice from watching good competitive football.
Mm-hmm.
But it is like a sea change, and we're losing things like Nick Saban and coaches that built their team to be we're with this kid from beginning to taking him to the NFL. Like now all these kids that go to the NFL are going to play for like 1 if not 2 or 2 if not 3 different teams.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a good entertainment product, and a lot of folks had said, these kids aren't really students. There needs to be a better system for these kids. I guess this is it, kind of. Certainly there's more money flowing into their coffers.
Mm-hmm. One thing I did hear, I think I heard it on McAfee, like one downside of like the whole NIL thing that I never really thought before in the transfer portal is how it's really gonna almost basically eliminate walk-ons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is kind of sad because, I mean, most of the time, yeah, walk-ons don't do anything, but then sometimes, like, walk-ons become, like, the greatest player and go into the NFL and have amazing careers and stuff.
Even if they don't go to the NFL, there's, like, famous TCU players or walk-ons that, like, won a bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've got that Bron Kohlhausen jersey from that time that he was the backup quarterback that beat Oregon after triple overtime and being down 31-0.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was, I mean, yeah. The magic, it's moving towards business and money and away from student athleticism and amateurism and
Love and romance of the game.
romance. Yeah. I'm not gonna say they don't love the game, but it is less romantic with all the money.
For sure. But whatever.
Yeah.
It's still fun. Football's back, baby. We're what? I keep forgetting today's Monday.
the 2nd. And
So we only got today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and then Thursday's NFL,
yeah,
and then we're just
rock and roll.
we're just rocking and rolling. The temperature's feeling great outside right now for this time of year.
Good.
We got real lucky this summer, I think.
Yep.
We got real lucky. We had like a 10-day stretch of just like super bad heat, as
Right
opposed to like 2-month stretch.
Right when football training camp and band camp and all that starts, it's just like, ah! Nah, just kidding. And yeah, it was definitely summer. It was definitely in the mid-90s. It was definitely hotter than the parts of the year that aren't summer. And then you got that taste. You got that 10 days, like you said, of just like, this is how bad it can be. I think that's what it needs to be all the time, Kelly. Just work on that.
I don't think we need any of that 10 days of hell.
No, I think we do. And similarly, I think we need 10 days of like ultra cold as well.
You're never going to get me to agree on the ultra hot.
I think you got to appreciate what you got. And that's a big part of it.
I think I've experienced it enough to be able to appreciate moderate temperatures year-round for the rest of my life.
I think we'd agree that nobody should be made to suffer that 10 days over 3 months. I think that's ridiculous. We've had that before. And maybe it doesn't need to be 10 days.
I'll take 2.
I was going to say 3. But I do think it needs to be there of like, yeah. Watch your mouth or we'll get 10 days of bad weather.
Yeah.
I haven't felt the nip in the air in the morning, but yeah, man. As soon as you open the back door or the front door, it's not like, oh, it's an oven out here. That's gone away.
Let's see what the forecast is looking at. Today we're looking at a high at 85.
Oh my goodness.
Feels like 91 though, but still.
Take it.
It looks like we're going to get some precipitation this evening. Oh, snap.
What are you seeing, Kelly?
I'm seeing we might have that first early morning chill this coming weekend. I'm seeing lows of 62, 63.
Wow. It's like a 20-point difference in high and low. I'm used to like, 5 and 10 degrees.
So yeah, I mean, in the next 10 days, there's only one day where it's supposed to hit true 90.
Let's go.
And then, we're now 3 weeks away from the official start of fall.
I think this has inspired me to get some pumpkin spice something.
There was in my work group chat on Teams the other day, someone was talking about pumpkin spice stuff, and the other person was like, too soon. It's like, it's basically September already. And I was like, well, it's not. And then someone said something that I never thought of before, but it makes sense. They're like, pumpkin spice is only for months that end in R.
Good.
And I never really put that together, but it is September, October, November, December.
Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah. Good time.
We've definitely done one round of Halloween shopping already.
I've definitely listened to a Christmas song already.
Costco is all Christmased up.
It's a great time of year.
Let's go.
That's so loud. Look at it. That's gonna break some eardrums. So I have to edit that.
Just a record scratch. A clap happened here.
Alright, if you made it to the end, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell your friends. Nate, take us away.
Love you guys. Take care. Bye.